Today on The Breakfast Show, ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful day, Sasha.
Exactly.
Just like you.
Oh, really?
Chill.
Wow, I think someone wants a free lunch later, isn't it?
I'm waiting for it for the longest time already, so I hope today's the day.
Yeah, well, it's Wesak Day and it is a public holiday. And now I'm sure there may be some of you who are wondering, what happens on Wesak Day? What are some of the rituals and what is the symbolism behind the various rituals that happen on this auspicious day? What do you think?
Absolutely, because here in Malaysia, of course, it's a country with diverse culture as well. It's about respecting each other. And the thing is, tak kenal maka tak cinta. So, of course, we prepared a little something on how Wesak Day is celebrated in Malaysia.
Let's have a look.
Wesak Day, considered to be the most important festival of Buddhists, is celebrated to observe the birth, enlightenment, and death of Lord Buddha. In Malaysia, Wesak Day has a religious celebration and declared a public holiday since the late 50s. Attended by thousands of devotees, the biggest celebrations are held in brickfields, Kuala Lumpur as well as Penang.
Basically, there are no rituals, but it's basically traditional things that we do every year. Wesak is not a celebration per se. It's more of a religious thing. We reflect inwards on ourselves, how we behave as human beings, how to be a better human being. So these are little things that we hope Buddhists and non-Buddhists will help to propagate on Wesak Day.
Part of the preparations for Wesak Day includes cleaning of the temple premises, putting up flags and buntings, preparing thousands of oil lamps, as well as the building of floats. Lighting up oil lamps is a significant part of this celebration. Wonder how many gallons of oil do they use during this period? On Wesak Day, the highlight of this celebration is the candlelight procession from the temple.
We actually started preparations about 2 months in advance. So that was basically in March, we started planning for this year's Wesak. You will expect between 100 to 150,000 devotees, both Buddhists as well as non-Buddhists coming to Buddhist Maha Vihara. Okay, we have about 15 to 20 floats from different temples coming to Buddhist Maha Vihara. We start from here in the evening, about 6:30, and then we travel throughout KL, the heart of KL, through Bukit Bintang and back to Buddhist Maha Vihara, a candlelight procession which takes about 4 to 5 hours. For that alone, I think we have about 20 to 30,000 people participating along the route.
The preparation of oneself prior to celebration is also observed by devotees, and many have gathered at temples to meditate. This year, the country's Wesak Day celebration is themed A Prosperous Nation, A Peaceful Life. As a diverse multicultural country, let us join our fellow Malaysians to celebrate their joyous occasion. We definitely look forward to see the float procession.
Interesting package. Thank you very much, Austin, our reporter, on the ground, and of course finding a little bit more. I didn't know there were that many oil lamps. Wow.
Wow, exactly. And I mean, just look at the floats, and those floats, the preparations for them begin 2 months in advance.
Exactly. And of course, the person you saw speaking on television, we have him right here on The Breakfast Show set as well. Thank you very much to the president of Buddhist Maha Vihara in Brickfields, Kuala Lumpur. Thank you. Mr. Tilak, Leslie, thank you so much for coming in.
Exactly, and for coming in on Wesak Day as well.
This man had to be somewhere at 7 a.m. to launch something before coming down to The Breakfast Show set. We thank you so much for your efforts.
Exactly, you had to run all the way over here. Could you share with us a little bit about what you were doing earlier this morning for our viewers before you came here?
On Wesak morning, in most temples, we have what's called a launching of Wesak in their respective temples. In Buddhist Maha Vihara, the program starts at 7 o'clock, where we have an invited guest, and what we do is we raise the Buddhist flag, and there'll be some chanting of the suttas by the monks. And of course, they'll be singing songs, devotional songs, Buddhist hymns. They'll be sung by choir groups, and it ends with a breakfast for the monks as well as for the laity. Late in the morning.
So, of course, today is to celebrate the birth, the enlightenment, and the passing of Buddha, all in one day. And this was decided by the WBA, the WFB, sorry, the World Federation of Buddhists. And what's a typical day like for Wesak Day?
Yeah.
I'll speak from the perspective of a Buddhist.
For sure.
Normally what we do is we get up very early in the morning. Some people wake up as early as 5 or even earlier. They come to the temple by 6 o'clock. What you normally do is you practice what's called the 8 precepts. Okay? Let me just go through it quickly.
Yes, please.
There's basically no killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no taking of intoxicants like drugs or alcohol. You don't sit on high and luxurious chairs. Don't indulge in song and dance, kind of thing, and no eating after 12 o'clock. So basically what you do is you restrain yourself from things that cause you pleasure or unpleasantness to others.
Is this to kind of like create a meditative kind of state?
Exactly. So you reflect on yourself and how you can be a better person today or any other day like that. On a normal given day, a Buddhist would practice what's called the 5 precepts. On special occasions, they'll take it a step further and observe the 8 precepts.
I see.
If you want to be better, then you do the 10 precepts.
Oh, wow. And what's the other two?
Yeah.
No use of money. Okay, and basically, I think it's an extension of the other 8. Okay, so basically, only when you do it when you become a novice monk, you take the 10 precepts. But if you become a fully ordained monk, there's 227.
227.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a
Which
long
level are
list.
you at, sir?
I'm 5.
Good for the layman. Good for the layman. So I understand in Brickfields, around 150,000 people are going to be showing up for the procession that's happening tonight.
Yeah, plus minus 150,000 is an estimate. But if you say from yesterday, the Wesak Eve program and the program today, there'll be between 100,000, 120 or 150,000 people in and out of the gates.
Wow, wow. And how many floats will there be on procession?
I would think within 2025.
Wow.
And
That's not just ours, because the other temples also build their floats and they come and join us for the main procession.
Now, light seems to be a very important symbol in Wesak Day. What is the symbolism behind it?
Yeah, as Bod explained earlier, actually what Buddhists do is we bring flowers, we bring incense and joss sticks. The significance is that basically is to reflect on life, how impermanent life is. When you bring the fresh bunch of flowers and you offer it on the altar, what you're doing is actually reflecting on the flowers. Now it's fresh. At the end of the day, it's going to wither and die, just like us. You know, in life, we are young now, we are healthy and running around, virile. But in time to come, we're going to wither. Due to age and and basically
and the thing is that what the vibe I'm getting is it's not a negative thing.
It is not. It's
part
not.
of life,
It's not. Yeah. So we have to accept that that life is impermanent, and how do we get out of this cycle of being born and growing up and dying and falling sick and. So I think that's what the Buddha did. I mean, he was a prince in a royal family. He had all the luxuries in life. But he found this little unhappiness in him, when he saw these things out of his palace gates. He saw a sick person, he saw a dying person, he saw a monk. At that point in time, wasn't a monk, a holy person, and he found how that holy person was so serene, and he had hardly any possessions on him, just maybe a rare cloth wrapped around him. But the demeanor of that person was so good, and he said, "Hey, this guy must be." Doing something
He's
right.
found the secret.
Doing something that I don't know about.
I don't know about. So so that's when he decided to leave the palace and look for an answer. So basically, that's what we do. We all go and seek for an answer, and that comes internally. Of course, you have the teachings to guide you, but at the end of the day, it's all us.
And also the experiencing of that particular journey called life.
Now, there's also something else I'm curious and I have to ask you about. I've also heard that a lot of blood donations are made on Wesak Day. Again, why is that particular act performed?
Charity is one of the biggest virtues that Buddhist practices, and is practiced quite extensively among Buddhists. Blood donation is only one. We also go into organ donations. Okay? We also go, like today, this afternoon at 12 o'clock, our devotees last night had cooked and prepared 10,000 packets of vegetarian food to be given away. So devotees would come around lunchtime, or some of them specifically come for lunch, are served a free luncheon. And that is the act of charity. It's one of the biggest virtues Buddhists would like to practice, not just on Wesak, but every other day.
I also understand that some people release birds and fish into the sea as well. Is there another part of the symbolism?
That was part of the symbolism.
Okay.
The only reason was, as I said, previously we found caged animals. I mean, they were actually in suffering when you were caged up. And Buddhists, being Buddhists, very compassionate, they wanted to release these birds or the fish or tortoises or whatever it was. And they used to bring it to the temple on Wesak days, and it was released many years ago. And then we found that there were people with unscrupulous guys who actually go around catching birds or insects or animals,
And
specifically
to be sold on Wesak days.
That's horrible.
So we decided to to stop that practice
There's
altogether.
a perversion, isn't it?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it became a huge business, which affected, I put Buddhism in a bad light.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
You pervert the teachings.
Yeah, so we said we decided to stop this altogether. So
Very
we,
good.
we cut the demand so there's no supply.
Exactly. So to counter it, you just stopped.
There are many
Fantastic.
ways to do charity.
Yeah.
No, but that's amazing because you're aware of the repercussions of something like that.
Correct.
So you just don't do it anymore.
Yeah, but you can do it on your own free. I mean, not on a festive day. You can go to a pet shop and buy a bunch of birds and release it. That's
Exactly.
okay.
It doesn't have to
As
be-
long as you do it with a proper intention, I think.
And a proper heart.
Yeah, proper heart.
And of course, Wesak Day is just to highlight or amplify these particular thoughts and feelings. Yeah. So of course, tonight, especially for devotees, of course, especially those living in the area, Brickfield is going to be very, very festive.
Very, very crowded.
Very, very crowded.
Bring your camera
It's gonna be
phones
very,
with
very
you.
worth it for tourists or foreigners who are here for a stay. It'll pay you due good to actually visit one of these festivities.
I'm sure it'll be a spectacular sight, something you will not see anywhere else. Brickfields already, to me, I love Brickfields. Already on a normal, general day is very exciting for me.
Exactly.
And tonight, I know it's just going to be absolutely spectacular.
So, of course, to end this particular interview, let's talk about Malaysia in general as well. Of course, we've passed through a turbulent time in our history. And of course, as president of the Maha Vihara from Brickfields, would you like to say something to fellow Malaysians out there on Wesak Day?
I think one of the tenets of Buddhism is appreciating other religions. One of the things the Buddha even said himself was, do not take what I say as the gospel truth. You have to do it yourself, you have to practice it and learn it and experience it, and then decide to, I want to be a Buddhist. So likewise, if you're a Catholic or a Muslim or a Hindu, we have to give them the due respect. We have to work together, and I think we have done this perfectly over the last so many years. As you just mentioned, Brickfield is a perfect example because
Melting pot, yeah?
Yeah, you have churches, you have Buddhist temples, you have Hindu kovils, and now we've got this big Shusurao, and we live quite happily in Brickfields, in a little 2 square kilometer area.
Exactly.
And I think anybody wants to learn about living in harmony, that's where it is. If you come on a Sunday morning, you hear our bells go off, you hear the church bells go off, you hear the Hindu bells go off.
No sleep on a Sunday morning,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Brickfield.
Sorry for the...
And the food in Brickfields is
Excellent
fantastic.
stuff as well. Excellent stuff. Thank you so much. And of course, to wrap up this interview as well, especially when we look at the fact that we talk about harmony within Brickfields, harmony within the nation as well. And we take the commonalities for Buddhism on Wesak Day. Of course, we highlight or we deny ourselves pleasures to fully appreciate what God has given us. It's the same for the Christians during Lent.
Yep.
It's the same for the Muslims during Ramadan. So there you go. The similarities are already there. So what's there to be angry about?
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing so much
And
with us
selamat
this
Hari
morning.
Wesak to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right here on the Breakfast Show as well as we bask in the glow of Wesak Day. Of course, when we do come back, let's time to wrap things up and some interesting contests for you to enjoy and win.